In this episode of The Frieze, Joey Gallo has won a Gold Glove, but some fans still don't like him. Why he's not going anywhere. Next, Buster Posey has retired. What does that mean for Kevin Gausman? Next, Aaron Judge is going to get paid, but when and how much is the question. And finally, your wild trade suggestions, and I pick my favorite. I'm Derek, this is The Frieze. Stick around. All right, let's start off with a few reactions to some recent news. Andrew Velasquez was claimed off of waivers. He's with the Angels now. Tim LaCastro also claimed. He is with the Red Sox. And Greg Allen was claimed by the Pirates. Of all of these, I'm most disappointed to see Allen go. I thought he would be a good option for the fourth outfielder, especially if Brett Gardner doesn't come back. Still a chance that Brett Gardner comes back. He's just a free agent, has not retired. Yankees might try and bring him back on a deal. I didn't suspect that Tim LaCastro was coming back because of his knee injury. Also, Velasquez was a little bit of a surprise because you figured that if the Yankees are unable to sign one of the top shortstop free agents, that you would need a little bit of depth in that position, possibly to hold you over until Peraza is ready. But I guess the Yankees feel like if they can't get anybody else, Peraza could just step in at shortstop, so that'll be interesting. Carlos Correa was actually posting on Instagram from New York City the other day, and fans got excited, but he was there apparently for a UFC fight. Joely Rodriguez also had his option declined. Rob Brantley is history. Yankees are clearing space on their 40-man roster. Not only is free agency officially live now as of Sunday, but we've got the Rule 5 draft coming up, in which eligible players who are not on the 40-man roster could be taken by other teams. That's how the Red Sox got Garrett Whitlock. This is usually the time in the offseason in which you see a couple of minor trades as teams try and unload 40-man roster spots. Occasionally, you'll see a major trade if you see multiple prospects moved into a deal. James Paxton was actually a trade that happened pretty early in the offseason. Usually before Thanksgiving is when these trades will happen. Generally, it feels like the trades happen in November, and then the major free agents will sign sometime around the winter meetings or shortly thereafter. This year, the collective bargaining negotiations might throw everything out of whack, so who knows what this winter's going to look like. Joey Gallo, Gallo, has won a Gold Glove, and I've seen way too many Yankees fans pissed off about this. A lot of them are mad because Aaron Judge got snubbed again, but Gallo was definitely deserving, as was Aaron Judge. But a quick look at Gallo's baseball savant ranking shows that he recorded outs above average in the 94th percentile of the league. That means he got to more balls than 93% of the other outfielders. He was in the 90th percentile of the league in terms of getting a jump on the ball, which is very important for outfielders. He's also got a very strong arm. I loved how quickly he would get the ball back into the infield whenever he got the ball. You can't tag anybody out from the outfield. You got to get it in. I love his hustle. But fans still don't like him based on his expected batting average, K percentage, and whiff percentage. And as you can see, he's in the red, great in a lot of areas, but also terrible when it comes to contact hitting and making contact in general. A lot of fans want him gone because they're tired of the strikeouts, but frankly, the Yankees are going to need left-handed power threats, and they need the defense that he brings, so I think they're going to stick with him. Though it wouldn't be a surprise if next year he's batting 7th or 8th in the lineup if the Yankees prioritize a little bit more contact in the top half of the order. He is a power threat, and he runs into balls occasionally, so I think he's going to be on the Yankees roster next year. Buster Posey has retired, meaning that the Yankees should quickly offer Gary Sanchez to the Giants for peanuts, forcing Kevin Gausman to leave as a free agent. I say that as kind of a joke, but also kind of serious. We know how important a catcher can be to a pitcher, not only how they receive the ball, how they block the ball, but how they tend to approach hitters. Sometimes you're just on the same brain wavelength in terms of which pitches to call next or which pitches to throw in order to work out of a jam. As a guy who throws a ton of split-fingered fastballs in the dirt, I don't think Kevin Gausman would be a good fit for Gary Sanchez, but if indeed the Yankees intend to move on from Gary Sanchez, this could be a natural 1-2 punch to throw. Trade Sanchez and sign Gausman. Another interesting pitcher that I've seen tossed around the last couple of days is John Gray. He did not receive a qualifying offer from the Rockies, which is weird because they didn't trade him at the deadline. His baseball savant rankings won't blow you away, but he does average 95 miles an hour on the fastball. He's got pretty good spin on the curveball, 69th percentile, so I could see somebody giving him a chance. He seems like the kind of low-risk, low-reward move that Brian Cashman likes to make from time to time. Gray was 8-12 with a 4.59 ERA in 2021. He threw 149 innings, struck out more than a hitter per inning, 157 strikeouts, but that's the National League, so he got to face the opposing pitcher a lot. I gotta say, I don't think his stuff or his numbers translate well into New York, although typically guys get better when they're coming out of Colorado, but just my opinion. Another guy that I've seen talked about a little bit is a guy we saw talked about last winter. That's Luis Castillo. He was 8-16. He led the league in losses, 3.98 ERA, made 33 starts, led the league in starts, 187 2/3 innings pitched, 75 walks, led the league in walks, 192 strikeouts, so more than a strikeout per inning. He had kind of a Jekyll and Hyde type of season. For his career, he's got a 3.72 ERA, throws a hard sinker, throws 99 miles an hour. Got to think that the Yankees are interested. I like his stuff, and I think he'll get better, but I just don't know what he's going to cost. David Cohn said the other day that he expects that Aaron Judge will be the Yankees' #1 priority this offseason. I think that's kind of a smart thing to do. Get that Judge contract out of the way. Now, Judge is one of the most popular players in baseball. He's a premier player, a guy who's on billboards, in commercials, one of the most recognizable players in baseball. He's also had 2 really great seasons, sandwiched around 3 seasons in which he's had injuries. Now, some of those injuries were not his fault. He got hit by a pitch and broke his wrist. He also played through a collapsed lung, which shows me that he's pretty tough. And both he and Giancarlo Stanton seem to respond well to Eric Cressey, as they both spent the majority of the season on the field, save for one calf injury from Giancarlo Stanton and a brief COVID stint from Aaron Judge. Now, seeing that Judge is about to turn 30, his agents are going to argue to him that a lot of players who are about 30 years old have gotten contracts to take them through their 30s up until they're 40. Look at somebody like Robinson Cano, Albert Pujols. But you could argue that those contracts have been terrible. So the Yankees are going to want to keep this to a 5 or 6 year contract. That's unlikely to be accepted quickly. I think they're going to have to settle on 7 or 8 years. Now the question is, how much is he worth per season? I think he's going to want to be the highest paid player on the Yankees. And with Garrett Cole making $36 million per season, I think he's going to end up with an 8-year contract worth $36.5 million per season, which comes out to $292 million, with a 9th-year option that has an $8 million buyout, bringing the total of the contract to 8 years with an option for a 9th and a guaranteed $300 million. That is my prediction for Aaron Judge. As it stands right now, the Yankees have $215 million committed in payroll next season. So if they do sign this contract, the Yankees are going to have to go way, way over the luxury tax if they want to sign a marquee free agent like Corey Seager or Carlos Correa, or to even re-sign Anthony Rizzo. All of this recent player movement that we've talked about, guys leaving the roster, clearing all sorts of roster space. I think you might see a couple of trades. All of this suggests that everything is connected. The Aaron Judge contract is connected to how much you can spend to upgrade at shortstop or starting pitching. This might be one of those off seasons in which the Yankees do a lot. They reshape the team in a fundamental way, which isn't always a bad thing. During the winter from 1995 to 1996, after the Yankees finally made the playoffs for the first time in forever, they add a new catcher, a new first baseman, a new second baseman, a new shortstop, a new left fielder, and a new manager. When you have a solid foundation of guys like Garrett Cole and Aaron Judge, you can build out the team from year to year around them, and I think that's something the Yankees are going to try and do this winter. It's not going to be easy with their payroll sitting at $215 million. They're going to have to eat some contracts. They're going to have to move some guys around. We'll see how it shakes out. Before we get to your crazy trade ideas, I wanted to give a shout out to Giancarlo Stanton, the birthday boy, 32 years old today, author of some of the greatest moments of the 2021 season. That grand slam against the Red Sox will live in my mind forever. Happy birthday to Giancarlo, non si può stopparlo. The first crazy trade we have actually involves Giancarlo Stanton. SaySal13ES wants to trade Giancarlo for Matt Olson and Matt Chapman. Reason that won't happen is because the A's don't want to take on that salary. Also, Giancarlo has a full no-trade clause and would have no interest in playing in Oakland. Aiden Clark wants to trade Anthony Volpe and Jason Dominguez for Shohei Ohtani. I tell you what, that would be a blockbuster. The Yankees' number 1 and number 3 prospects for a guy who's probably going to win the MVP. That would be crazy. I don't think it would happen, but that's crazy enough to be on this list. Thanks for the submission. Lightning Fire wants to trade Ketel Marte from the Diamondbacks to the Yankees for Oswaldo Cabrera, Clark Schmidt, and a first-round draft pick in next year's draft. Unfortunately, you cannot trade draft picks yet, although that could change with the collective bargaining agreement. Runner-up comes from Kobe221. Juan Soto to the Yankees for Volpe, Gallo, and Jason Dominguez. I tell you what, that would be amazing. Juan Soto in a Yankees uniform, and that could be enough to get it done, honestly. I don't think that the Nationals would have any interest in trading Juan Soto, but if they did, Volpe and Dominguez are 2 top prospects, and if they had no need for Gallo, at least they could move him for some other good prospects. I could see that being a humongous game changer, but doubt it's going to happen. And the winner for my favorite crazy trade, this is from Douglas Rao. He's got the Yankees getting Jesse Winker and Luis Castillo. Jesse Winker is an outstanding left-handed hitter with the Cincinnati Reds, and if they just lost Nick Castellanos, obviously they could be willing to move some of their other star players. Jesse Winker, Luis Castillo, we already talked about him. In this trade, the Yankees would send Oswald Peraza, Davy Garcia, who did not have a good year this year, Oswaldo Cabrera, and Beck Way, who is a right-handed pitcher. I think that the Reds might ask for a little bit more. I don't think Davy Garcia has a ton of value right now, but Peraza and Cabrera being part of that deal is a good start. Doug, I will reach out to you in the comments, and we can get you a hoodie.